Sunday morning in the boatyard, and I've just come back from breakfast. I try to take a couple of mornings off occasionally because I like doing breakfast, and I went down to Town Basin in Whangarei. It's a nice spot, and there's a little restaurant there. Does pretty good pancakes, so I indulged in pancakes, lots of bacon and coffee, and on the way back, I managed to find some hose. So I went and bought some hose yesterday, which was 32mm for the toilet. I wanted some white hose, and you think I can find white hose? And the hose I got sold, there is no way in hell it's 32mm. Sold as 32mm, but I soaked it in boiling hot water for ages. I still couldn't stretch it to 32mm. So bought this. And that is 32mm, softened up okay, took fittings, so I'll show you what I'm up to. I'm still working in the head at the moment. I'm just about finished, got the watermaker in, and now I'm just doing all the seacocks and replacing some fittings and fixtures. Okay, so this is the head. Looks familiar. I've been in here for the last week. So what have I got in here? I've got two seacocks. I've got a intake and a outboard. And given that I'm up on the hard, I'm going to pull them apart, give them a clean, re-grease them, put them back in. So it's an aluminium boat, and they have aluminium seacocks. And these seacocks are 50 years old. And most boat owners would go, ah! But no, because they're all like metal, other things fucking rust, or not rust, but corrode. So aluminium seacocks and aluminium boat are a fantastic idea, as long as you've got enough protection around them. One of the problems though is I stupidly painted the bottom of this, because there's a little bit of pitting and corrosion in there, and painting it only made it worse. So if you have an aluminium boat, whatever the fuck you do not paint inside your boat. I hear people even doing clear coatings. It's a fucking stupid idea. You're better off making it completely smooth, as smooth as you can, and then putting lanolin or something like that, some grease or something to stop corrosion in there. This bilge stays wet the whole time. It's shower water, there's wastewater, it's always got water coming into it. And there's normally a duckboard in here, that's in there somewhere. But yeah, that's the seacock there, that's the other seacock there. Just checking my bilge pumps. I've been changing all the hoses and fittings. This is the pipe I just changed. This is my whale gusher manual pump, and I use that for pumping the shower out as well. So I've got electric and a manual, but often I just use the manual one. That way I know it's working. And the automatic one there is there for if the water gets a bit higher, people are not paying attention. So yeah, that's where I'm up to. I was trying to get some white hose, because that's pumping out the bilge. It'll be, dark and ugly looking water. I didn't want that, but I will find some white hose eventually and replace it probably, or in 2 or 3 years it'll get changed out. But yeah, last night I was ready to run the watermaker, and this fitting here, which is off the end of the pump, and I just kept these. I thought they were just practical. If I need to change out a pump, they're just a quick release fitting. The bloody pin, this pin here, but on that one, snapped off, because this has been working perfectly. And then, I pull it apart, grease it all up, give it a clean with a bit of wet and dry, and put it back together, and no, it stops working. Of course. And then I start wheeling it, and it starts working, so bad connection, a bit more wet and dry, and then putting it back together, it snapped. So that was at, that was dark. And after that, I just gave up. I go, fuck this, I've had enough. So I gave up, and I called it a night. Went and cooked some dinner over in the mess hall here, and did a bit of work on my computer that I need to do. Actually, a video. So that's the problem being on the hard. You're doing everything. Like particularly when you're by yourself. You're working all day, and I try and get up now at about 6:30. I go over to the mess hall, and I start doing my exercise regime again. I got a bit slack, so I'm trying to do that, because stretching, working in the bilge just kills my fucking back. So, you know, I'm up there this morning doing a workout, and then thought, fuck it, I'm going to go and have breakfast in town, take a bit of time out for me. And not just this boat, fuck you TinTin. And yeah, so, but yeah, it's very, very frustrating when, you know, you've been busting your ass all day, you think you've got it, and then something fails at the last minute. You know, like, it would have taken another hour to cut that off, strip them, you know, put new connectors on, find everything, because, you know, like, the whole boat's a shit fight, so I needed to find it. I'm probably not going to put another connector. I'm just going to do a solid soldered connection, and then, you know, seal them up with heat shrink. But yeah, that's an hour's work, and I'd already spent 12 hours on the fucking thing. So yeah, down in here, checking all the hose clamps. So far they all look good. I think I swapped out a few last year. Check those ones. Got to pull this out, and I'll show you how I do that in a minute. And then I've got to check the hose clamps down here. Yeah, one really freaky thing I had happen last year. I spent a month in Barrier Island, and then I had to go back and get my engine fixed again at Marsden Cove. And 3 days into a trip from Marsden Cove, no, 4 days into a trip Marsden Cove, halfway to Tonga basically, with my second crew, the toilet stopped working. I thought, fuck, that's strange, you know, like, you know, there must be a block in there somewhere. You know, you never know what crew are doing. You know, too much toilet paper or, you know, sanitary product or something. And it wasn't that. It was bloody shellfish, mussels or oysters had grown in the tube. So this tube here, I had shellfish growing in there. And I'm normally pretty good. Like, I'll put bleach down the toilet regularly to make sure there's nothing growing in the toilet system. You know, I bleach it all the time. And, you know, we were out at sea, couldn't get this thing to work, so we had to shut off the seacock, shut off the other seacock, take that hose off there, and then try and find something to ram down there. And in the end, we got a length of hose, and we were just ramming a length of hose down there, and then flushing it with hot water, and the most toxic shit I could find. I bleached it, and I think I put some, you know, methyl or kerosene down there or something, you know, and then just smashed it for like 4 hours it took. It was Howard and I, and it is the most fucking disgusting job. Really, I didn't film it because I was just so close to vomiting, and there's Howard and I in here. It was, you know, sea state 4 or 5, rolling around like a pig trying to fix this thing because, you know, only one toilet on TinTin. And yeah, we finally got it working and freed up, and yeah, and that's why you have seacocks at work, because if that seacock down there didn't work, I would have had to, well, I did still put a timber bung in the back of it just in case something failed, but yeah, you imagine having to pull that hose off and the seacock's not working properly. You know, it's then your boat's taking on water the whole time. So, you know, not something you want to do when you're at sea. You know, like, so that's why I check all these things as regular as I can. And but yeah, that was, oh my God, that was a fucking disgusting job. Like, you know, I'm still a little bit traumatized. Anyway, I'm making a cup of tea, and I'm going to have a ginger nut cookie, because who doesn't love a ginger nut with a bit of tea? So yeah, tea, bit of cream, ginger nut, and then I will get stuck back into it, and I'll bring you along for the disgusting work in the head, which is not so disgusting. It's just ripping out the seacocks and cleaning them, re-greasing them, putting them back in, and then I can finish the floor. I need to give that a big clean out as well. It's quite grubby down there, and make sure there's no corrosion in there. Put the floor back in, and then I'll start putting the toilet in. I'm hoping to get all that done today. So enough talking, back to action. Okay. Alright. What do we got? So on this particular seacock, I had to make these last year because I couldn't get new tops for them. They actually cracked. They were a bit flimsy, so I just bought some aluminium and manufactured some myself because I got fed up. So now I'm just trying to find that I had a moment ago. Like adjusting nuts, sort of, you pull the plug. This is the plug here, or the seacock, the cock maybe, and that's the, I don't know what the fuck you call it, something, and that pulls it down to increase the seal. So these only have grease as a seal, and this one was only pulled out, I don't know, 12 months ago, so it still moves pretty well. Yeah, I just give it a wiggle until it comes loose. Sometimes if they've been in there too long, they I need to go underneath with a slide, like a bronze piece of metal. I put it up against it and I just give it a tap with the hammer and that just pops it. In this case, it just pops out. So you can see there, it's just a smooth surface. It's got a couple of little sections where the grease can slide into, and maintains its seal. So what I do is I clean these out, make sure there's no corrosion in there, and I'll do that with a bit of kerosene probably. Give it a bit of a clean up. I'll put this in some, yeah, probably some kerosene as well. Okay, back again with some Kero. Okay, got the other part back. It's nice and clean. Just use a lot of hot water and get most of the crap off, and then I clean it with a bit of kerosene. It's a bit grubby on the inside, but that's just anti-foul and other things. So on these ones, they just have a little line which indicates open or closed. So I know on this one it goes in that way. Sort of the line is thicker on this end. Alright, so this year, I had it a moment ago. Where did I put it? Oh, there we go. I'm going to try lanolin. I'll tell you in 12 months whether it's any good or not. I mean, millions of Kiwi sheep can't be wrong. I normally use a marine grease to grease these and, you know, provide like a watertight seal. I'm hoping lanolin will have a similar effect for me. I guess we'll find out when we go back in the water. Alright. Okay, so I tend to just turn it a bit to try and bed it in. And then we go back through the whole process of putting these back on again. Yeah, some boats I've counted 14, 16 seacocks, which I think is fucking ridiculous. It's a good way to sink your boat. Too many things going on. Seacocks you don't need. Lots of additional opportunities for failure. All of these things are failure points. That's a failure point. Yeah, corrosion can be a failure point. All of these hose rings failure point, hoses failure points. You know, everywhere below the waterline's failure point. If you've got 14 seacocks, you must have like, you know, 60 failure points underneath the waterline on a boat. It's just insane. You know, I've got 4 and I reckon there's probably another, you know, 16 failure points potentially of hoses and things that can, you know, sink a boat. So yes, something to consider if you're buying a boat, or if you bought a boat and you are just learning about all this shit. Keep a close eye on these things, they will potentially kill you. Alright, enough of being in here, I need to stretch. Okay, it's the end of the day, and I should have been installing the toilet about now, or maybe have it tested. But as usual, when it comes to boat stuff, nothing ever works the way you want it to work, and I'm still installing shit. What do I know? So, just adjusting the angle of the dangle for the bilge pump. Yeah, it was riding up a bit, so just going to put a I love this thing. Haven't had a vacuum cleaner for years. I'm a fan. Ryobi, you rock. That's a fucking great vacuum cleaner. Uses the same battery. Even better. Yeah, never thought I'd buy another one, but I needed one for a bit of a sanding job on the boat, and I saw that little one. I thought, fuck, that's me. So yeah, this is an automated float switch. So it was just problem was it kept riding up and it was in the wrong angle, particularly while moving around. So I just wanted to pull it down to a better angle. There we go. That'll keep it where it's supposed to be. Alright, so just get this one back in. The problem with putting that bloody stuff on it, the lanolin, is it's slippery as. Anyway, that should be the angle. So this little slot should be aimed at the direction of the tube. That means it's open. Alright, what has taken me all day to do in here? A little bit of corrosion. Cleaning up some stuff in the bottom there. Cleaned out this pipe that had problems from last year when I got shellfish in the pipe, so that took a lot longer than I anticipated. So the actual pipe itself is not that old, and I just ended up reaming it out, which was a job not suitable for YouTube or anybody. And I'm, again, mentally scarred by the whole thing. But I'm going to the pub tonight and I'm going to have a beer because I fucking deserve one. And then I'll forget about all the bad things that have happened in the head whilst I've been trying to fix this thing. Make the pain go away, my beer. Yes, doing jobs in the head. It's got fucking big furry knobs on it, and I don't like it. Alright, so in 12 months I'll tell you whether the lanolin was a better idea than the marine grease. Everything's vacuumed out, everything's clean, everything's tested, everything's tightened. tighten, 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 tighten. Done up, done up, done up, done up. All right, check, check, check. Floor. I love this floor. Bit of a blast from the past. Yeah, it's a nice sort of a look. But there we go. Only varnished all that last year, would you believe? Hard to believe. Alright, so that's all back in. I could start on the putting the toilet base in. In fact, I may still do that. And then I'm going to go and have a beer because I deserve one. Oh, the trauma of doing plumbing in the boat. Oh my god, I never want to be a fucking plumber. Alright, see you in a... Well, we are there. We've got the part of the mount in, and now we're just measuring up the toilets. Do some holes, and then who knows, I might even get this thing in before I need to go for a beer, and I'm pretty bloody thirsty. Trying to paint anything has been a fucking nightmare, so I managed to get a couple of coats of like a 2-pack on it, and this old frame down here is pretty grungy. There's nothing pretty about it. It'll get me another year or two, and then I'll swap that out for something else. Doing everything by your fucking self. Another day on TinTin, and still in the head. Almost finished. Let me give you a look at what we got going on. So it's almost dark here. Somehow I managed to blow the fuse in the light, which I've got to go and find the fuse yet. There's always something. We've got the toilet in. It's all structurally in. Needs a bit of a touch up, so I had to manhandle it in. So got all the plumbing sorted, which is one of the things I didn't have yesterday. Plumbing, wiring, everything's working. And I've also got a little seacock, well, you know, a cock in the intake line. Gate valve in the intake line, which on TinTin, sometimes when I'm on a starboard tack boat, pushing, well, not pushing, but you know, sailing hard, it pumps water up through the line and used to flood the previous toilet system. You know, not all the time, but occasionally when we're really hammering along, it would. So I don't know if it's going to happen with this system because it's got a pump to pump water in and out. But you know, better safe than sorry. So put the seacock back in, or the gate valve back in. So everything is plumbed, and everything's checked. I've just been pressure testing it and running it, and yeah, all good to go. And then this afternoon I finally got to run the watermaker. So I ran this side of it. This is all pressure tested and all working perfectly, run through the lines, hooked up the watermaker, pressure vessel, and before I even applied pressure, it started leaking, which is fucked. So now I have to pull it out of the cupboard and find where the leak is. It's in the bottom, of course. It's not in the top. It's in the bottom, you know, as it always should be. Most difficult spot, which I can't access without pulling it out. So, but at least everything's fitted now, and you know, I know what I need to do to get it back in, get back out. It's not such a big deal, but it's just, there's another couple of hours work there. That's the sad part. And I put it all in before I put the toilet in, just to make it easier. Like, it's a bit of a dick drag trying to get it in there. But the toilet is all now hooked up. I haven't got a lid on it yet because I figured I don't need a lid on it just yet. And it's all operating perfectly. So that needs to come out tomorrow, but I'm done for today. So yes, even got a little push valve. Well, if I had power attached to it. Oh my god, haven't had one of those before. Yes, I know, simple things amuse simple minds. And just topping up the water tanks on TinTin. When you top up the water tanks, this is the overflow from the water tank, and just lets me know the tanks are full. So I need to go out and turn that off in just a moment. Can't hurt to flush the tanks. It's one of the things I'm working my way through to. One of my next jobs is to replace the saltwater tap. I'd been buying this model here, and I bought it at Burnsco, but it was it just seems to get eaten out, and it's okay for fresh water, but for salt water it just doesn't last. So ripping it all out, I'm going to put this brass bronzy thing in, and then I'm going to put a separate switch. So that'll be on this side. I've had one there for a while, seems to be okay. So that's another project. Got to get down into the bilge in here, and that water filter system there needs to find its way into the bilge somehow. Haven't found a space for it just yet, but I will. I'll be checking all the hoses in there, and occasionally get a little leak, so it could be a hose or a hose clamp that's failed. I've changed nearly all the hose clamps in the toilet head area. So yes, move on to the next series of hose clamps and hoses, and I haven't checked the galley hose for a while, but when I do the seacock, I'll check that hose and make sure it's all good to go. These are all places that can sink your boat. Last year I ripped out all the motor intake and cleaned all that out, and brand new hoses, seacocks. So I'll clean the seacock, but I won't be changing the hoses or the hose clamps. They're good to go for another couple of years before I need to worry about them. Visual check, of course. So yeah, and then down in here I've got a manual foot pump, freshwater, 12 volt freshwater pump, and a 12 volt saltwater pump. Some people may ask, why a saltwater pump? Well, I wash my dishes with salt water nearly all the time. I only have 300 litres on TinTin. And the saltwater pump, whilst it's a bit corrosive on the varnished finish, it works really well at cleaning the dishes. And I can use as much salt water as I want because it's plentiful. And then I just give a quick rinse with fresh water if I need to. But most of the time I don't even do that. I just dry them, throw them back in the rack, or let them air dry and then put them back in the rack. And there might be a skerrick of salt on it, but it doesn't seem to bother me yet. I get my salt intake. But it saves me a lot of water. Before I put that in, I used fresh water for cleaning things, and I don't really have the water for that unless I'm running the watermaker all the time. And then it would have to be fucking working. And so that's tomorrow's job. Watermaker, pressure tested, and then that, and all through that carbon underneath there, which is an absolute pain in the ass because I've got to pull up this deck board, or this deck board. Pull out that drawer. There's a water tank in there, hot water tank. I need to pull that out. I've got my fridge unit in there. I need to pull that out. Well, not pull it out, but at least have a good look at it. Make sure salt hasn't got into it. Yes, it never stops. It just changes direction. And but making progress. And the other thing that's happening tomorrow is the riggers are coming to change the backstay. If Fiona was here, I would have gone up and dropped the backstay myself and had it done, but I've got a bit of bursitis in my elbow, so jugging up or jumaring up and down the mast is not the greatest thing at the moment. So I'm paying for that privilege for someone else. Anyway, all good. We're getting there, slowly. Okay, have a good night.